What's going on, everyone? Hope you're having a fantastic weekend, a great day. I know I am. I think I slept 12 straight hours, so I'm all caught back up. I'm in a good mood. Sleep is a good thing, and I never get it. You guys know I do that overnight deal. So anyway, still on vacation. Wanted to make a video about a couple modifications I've done to this truck that I feel like have really ruined it. And I feel that way when I'm on the highway. But before we get to that, I just want to let you guys know it is Saturday. We would normally do a live stream on Saturday. Not going to do one today. On vacation in the Poconos, and the signal here isn't very good for live streams. If you've been around the channel a while, I don't know how many months ago it was. 3-4 months ago we tried it up here and it was just a nightmare. So I'm not going to do any live streams. Maybe I'll give it a whirl tomorrow or whatever, but it was no fun. And I have a good idea for a video today. It's something that is actually very useful for you guys. So that's the first update, no live stream. But now on with the topic of the video. So, I don't know. I feel like I made a mistake on a couple modifications for this truck. Everything I do for this truck is, trying things. There's some things I, wouldn't normally do. There's a lot on this truck I wouldn't have done without the channel. I do a lot of it for you guys to see, what you think about parts. I do it to help out Sparks Parts. They'll be like, hey, you want to try this? Absolutely. Show you guys what I think and stuff like that. So I really do regret the TRD front sway bar at this point. And at that point, I kind of regret the TRD rear sway bar. Now, don't freak out and bear with me. I'm going to explain myself. They're both fantastic for the Tundra. I like them. They are meant to do, keep the truck, the body roll to a minimum. It really helps keep the truck down in the road and cornering. It does a lot of great things for the Tundra. My issue with it is the TRD Pro suspension. Even when you go and you search TRD rear sway bar and TRD front sway bar for the TRD Pro suspension, last I looked, Toyota recommends you don't use the rear sway bar for the TRD Pro suspension. And that's because you're basically taking the suspension out of it. You're limiting what it can do. You're not going to get any articulation. The suspension is just not going to do the full travel that it's meant to. And obviously, you guys know, I don't do a lot of off-roading, right? That's why I did the sway bars, because I wanted the truck to feel good as far as on-road travel. The rear one alone, I never really had a problem with, but ever since I put the front one on, the truck is completely different, especially on the highway. One of the great things about the TRD Pro suspension, it's great for off-road, absolutely, for sure. But another good thing about it is it's one of those things that on-road, the TRD Pro suspension is awesome, especially on the highway. It makes you feel like you're kind of floating on a cloud, floating over the road, over the bumps. It's not bumpy. It rides really nice, and that was always my big, high five to Toyota on the TRD Pro suspension. When I bought my 2016 TRD Pro, that was the first thing I noticed of how good it drove on the highway, and even up at like 50 miles an hour. Nothing crazy. Just rode better over the bumps. And dude, if any of you know New Jersey, especially the area I live in, New Jersey, it's bump city all the time. Those roads, oh my God, they need to pave those roads. That's just the way it is. It's just bumps all day long. The problem that I'm seeing on the highway, and this was yesterday driving up here, I really felt it more than ever. It takes away the TRD Pro suspension on the highway completely. You feel every little bump. As I always tell you, the front sway bar, no matter what speed you're traveling, it's just a jarring ride. It's one of those things where if the body roll is going to happen, the body will sway, but the suspension will stay in the road a little bit on the TRD Pro suspension. With the front sway bar, I feel that the body will still sway, but it'll actually bring the suspension with it. And what I mean by that is you're constantly playing with the wheel, doing corrections, like the whole ride. It was just one of those things where, like, it was getting annoying to me. And every single bump you felt, it was a rough ride. And I think this is the first time I've been on a long highway trip with the TRD front sway bar. So I'm telling you right now, this is a question somebody asked me. When I get the Fox suspension, the 2019 TRD Pro suspension made by Fox on this truck, I will be taking off the sway bars. Now, don't get me wrong. The Tundra comes with a front sway bar. I'm going to put the stock one back on and take off the TRD Sport front sway bar that I have on there now and go back to how it is. There will be no rear sway bar because I want to test the suspension for what it's supposed to be, to see if I feel any difference with the Bilstein one that I have on here versus that one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these sway bars off, and that's how I'm going to do my testing when I do get the Fox suspension. That has to happen. It just needs to be done. Now, if you're a Tundra owner and you don't have the TRD Pro suspension and the truck's going to spend a lot of time on road for you, go buy the TRD sway bars. They're fantastic. It's just when you have the TRD Pro suspension, you're basically taking out everything that the suspension is meant for. You spend $2,500 or so on that suspension. You want it to do its thing. So that's the way I feel about it, guys. I don't know what to tell you. That's the way I feel about it. And yesterday's road trip definitely just kind of pushed that home. I've never really been a big fan. If you watch my other videos, I've never really been a big fan of the TRD front sway bar since I had it. I feel like it just roughened up the ride, really jarring. Just not a fan up front with it at all. Just kind of changed the whole characteristics. It's amazing how you go from a sway bar that weighs 19 pounds to a sway bar that weighs 30 pounds. So about 10-pound difference, and there's that much difference in the front feel for at least the TRD Pro suspension. That's what I feel. I know a lot of you are a big fan of the TRD front sway bar, and good, enjoy it. This is just the way I feel about it with this suspension. I feel like it has completely changed everything. So let me know in the comments below what you think. If you're new to the channel, welcome aboard. Subscribe, hit the notification bell so you know when I do live streams, because I do a lot of pop-up live streams out of nowhere and I want you guys to be involved. Try to answer all your questions on there. So I would love more of you to join up, have a good time. It's always fun. And it's not always truck talk. It ends up talk about food and stuff too. Whatever you guys want to talk about, I let you guys dictate it. So, but as far as these sway bars go, to answer that question, I will be taking them off when the new Fox 2019 TRD Pro suspension gets here. If you don't know that by now, we're not going to get a TRD Pro. We're going to keep this one, and we're going to keep building onto this guy right here. Because there's no point. There's not enough change from 2017 to 2019 to do the switch. We have the supercharger. We've built this into a Pro. It just makes no sense. So, yeah, I talk to you guys later. Thank you for watching. Twitter and Instagram at TundraDude34, TundraDude34 at gmail.com. You guys have a great one.